Now batting for the Reds, number 44, the shortstop, Ellie Cruz.
Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast. That's Ricky. I'm Roger. It is Sunday at 8 p.m.-ish, and we are live. We are the Red Hot Reds podcast presented by All Gloves Off Sports Network, and we have also a sponsor presented by Battle Bites, fuel for you, beef jerky. You go to battlebites.com. You can go and use our promo code AllGlovesOff10 for 10% off your order. Fuel your battle. We really appreciate them. And also, if you haven't tuned in, they have a great cause where they give 10% of their profits to the Wounded Warrior Project. So shout out to them and Battle Bites. We really appreciate their sponsorship. We are very grateful that they are partnering not just with our show, but Mike's show. That happens at Tuesdays, but I think he was sick last time. But they did a special on Friday night for the Lights Out podcast, covering the college football playoff, Bama versus Oklahoma. So shout out to them for doing that. This is like football season, man. They got all the bowls, they got all the big playoff implication games for NFL and whatnot. So check them out. Football with Cheese as well is killing it, doing great. So shout out to those guys. Sirhan with X with his stuff. And you know what? We should probably try to get Sirhan on because I watched that Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight. I kind of want to talk to him about it. I sent some messages on X to him, and he's got strong opinions. And I'm not a boxing guy per se, but I watched that fight and I had feelings. And my wife was kind of like, man, why you got so much invested in this? I was like, hey, it's on Netflix. It's accessible. 10 years ago, when like boxing was like only on HBO, I would not pay $100 to watch that fight, to be honest with you. So like, to be honest, I know Jake Paul's controversial and whatnot, but I don't think I would have watched that fight if it was behind a paywall. But shout out to Anthony Joshua, man. He is,
massive.
He is a boxer's boxer, if you will. But before all that, Ricky, we got lots of stuff to cover. You know, it was a bit quieter week, not necessarily as negative of a week, which is good. No major news for the Reds, but we did get, a couple nice things to talk about this week.
We did.
Yeah, and we'll also do the top 10 moments of the Reds 2025 season. And we hope that you'll be able to join us and chime in the chat. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button so that you can hear it, get that notification whenever we go live like tonight. This is our last show of the year for 2025, Ricky. So, we're going to try to give you a nice, good show, send off and whatnot. But how you been this week?
Been hanging in there. Lots of news. Been, on the edge of my seat, as they like to say. The signing was good. I enjoy that. I think that it's a move that we had to make, and I think we were desperate for left-handed pitching out of the bullpen, and I don't think they should stop. But that, and then the Hall of Fame. Our guy Brandon Phillips gets in. I think we famously kind of said that at the beginning of the year. I don't know how they decide who gets in when they do it. I don't know if there's any like time frame for like when a player like the MLB Hall of Fame is like 5 years retired. I don't know if the Reds have a time frame for when they retire, but funny enough, he gets in the year we say he should get in, and then Reggie Sanders gets in, Aaron Harang. I think those two, Harang and Phillips, were the two that deserved it the most, I think. But yeah, other than that, I've been doing all right. How about yourself?
This week was great in terms of like we didn't miss out on some big major signing. We didn't do stupid crawl comments all week and whatnot. So But I did get sick this week. I got the flu, so if I like my voice goes out or anything like that, I'm still kind of like 48, 72 hours away from that. So I'm trying to battle through. And I thought this when I had the flu. I'm like, there is no way Michael Jordan played with the flu. By the way, I know they talked about that a little bit.
It was a hangover.
The Last Dance. That's a conspiracy. I think they said that it was food poisoning, right?
Okay.
From a bad pizza, and that seems a little bit easier to get through than the flu, because the flu, man, it really sets you back, if you know what I mean. Like it was a bad 48 hours, but I'm back. I'm good. I'm ready, and my voice is a little bit worse for wear, but we'll do our best to give you this best show that we can at the last show for 2025 for us, and we're gonna try to recap the year for the Reds and give you the best moments. But Ricky's right. Like, this week was a bit of a positive week in terms of we got a guy in Caleb Ferguson that we'll talk about later that is going to be needed for that left-handed pitching depth. But first and foremost, our 2026 Hall of Fame class is, I think, we have to look back and kind of compare, but they say it might be the best Hall of Fame class for the Reds Hall of Fame ever. And
there's some names on there, man.
It's hard to disagree in terms of, like, the headliners of Phillips and Reggie Sanders and Sweet Lou, the 1990 World Series winning manager. It's difficult. And then you add in Aaron Harang, who's like a consistent opening day starter, a guy you could give the ball to every 5 days and not have to worry about pitch count or his arm or injuries or whatnot. So, like, it's a pretty solid class to say the least. It is kind of weird that they do it like every 3 years, because you're not sure exactly who's eligible and whatnot. We did have that open fan vote, and I vote early and often is what I did for Phillips and whatnot, and Cozart was also on that ballot. Who else was on that ballot? There's a bunch.
Mike Leake, Homer Bailey, Francisco Cordero, and somebody else.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Sorry.
It's a very difficult and competitive, I think, class, to be honest with you. And like you said, I'm not sure exactly the exact qualifications you need for the ballot, but Reggie Sanders and Lou Piniella got in by the Veterans Committee, I believe. Yeah. So that's got to be
didn't even know they had that.
It's an internal vote. I believe in 2023 it was Danny Graves and Bronson Arroyo got in with the fan vote, and then I think a former GM that basically constructed the 1940 World Series team, I forget his name, but he was the GM. He got in on the veteran vote, and I believe one other guy, but I'm losing that fourth one. But I know there's like some internal voting as well that happens probably that will allow a guy like Reggie Sanders, well deserving, to be a part of the Reds Hall of Fame, and Lou Piniella as well, obviously, because he was only here 3-4 years. I want to say Piniella,
3 years, 90 to 93, I think.
Yeah, he took over that team after, unfortunately, Pete Rose got caught with his, you know the story if you're a Cincinnati fan. Took over a very
good team. FanDuel.
Yeah, took over a very good team in 1990 and went wire to wire to win it all. And as inspiration of this show with that music video, check it out on YouTube, the Red Hot Reds mixtape or whatever they call it. I forget what it is.
Yeah, the Red Hot.
Yeah, we're the Reds, Red Hot. It's inspiration of this show title, so check that out. That's the 1990 team. So it's good to see. And I believe Reggie Sanders, unfortunately, he debuted after that team, but still had a solid
debuted in 91, I think.
He still 92. Had a solid career. I believe Eric Davis's injuries kind of led to Reggie Sanders, at least the story that was told by Mr. Sanders in the interview this week that I saw. He was basically like an Eric Davis replacement and was very serviceable with the 7-8 years that he played here. Mm-hmm. The funny thing that I took away from that interview, I don't know if you saw that, Ricky, is that I forget if it was something that was quoted to Reggie or that it was something that he said, but that Reggie Sanders' induction to the Reds Hall of Fame would make Marge Schott roll over in her grave.
Yes. So I wrote about that on SI. I covered him and Aaron Harang's reflection on their careers. And what Reggie said, he said, let me see. He said a couple of my friends texted me yesterday. He said that, hey, Marge Schott will be turning in her grave knowing that you're going into the Hall of Fame. How about that? And then he said he got to the field and Marge Schott came up to him and said, hey, you're gonna be my next Eric Davis. And then she called over Shotzi, her dog, and said, you get over here. And she ripped a piece of hair off of her and put it in his back pocket and said, that's good luck.
Honestly, on the lowest part of the list of Marge Schott sins, to be honest with you with that.
Yeah.
That is kind of creepy, I guess, to say the least, but at least it wasn't that the dog pooped on the shoe or something like that. Because I hear that happened a lot.
You did. or the flowers to the umpire that passed away on opening day. And
yeah.
We could keep going. But
yeah, there's not a Marge Schott podcast, even though that the name of the show is a tribute to the World Series that she won. Unfortunately, maybe
2026 rebrand's gonna be called Shotzi.
Yeah,
the Shotzi Pod.
Oh,
kidding.
Yeah, so it's a great class. That dude PP did a great interview and was really still the fan favorite as ever. Doing his thing where it's going to be a great kind of like Hall of Fame weekend, which they changed it up because I believe they used to do it like in August, like in the really hot late summer, but now they're moving it up to April, late April, I believe, the last weekend of April,
24th through the 26th, which
would be nice because a lot of fans will hopefully come out to the ballpark early in the season because outside of opening day, the Reds, tend to kind of struggle getting attendance into Great American Ballpark in the April and May type of month until like school's out and whatnot. But there's all sorts of factors with that. But for the most part, it'll be a great weekend for all those guys. Really, really looking forward to just seeing any other content that kind of comes out of that with those guys getting into the Reds Hall of Fame. And yeah, like Ricky said, he called it in early March that we were kind of like, wait a minute. 2026. That's like a Hall of Fame year. So that dude,
Brandon Phillips, put him in there.
Yeah, he got in first ballot Hall of Famer, if you will.
Yeah, there we go. And Aaron Harang.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys. Yeah. Anything else in the thought of those guys going into the Hall?
I did like Aaron Harang's quote about they asked him what it was like, what it meant to him to be in the Hall of Fame for the Reds. And he said, it's a definite honor. The Reds have such a legacy and history in Major League Baseball, being one of the oldest franchises in the sport. Being able to be a part of a limited number of players that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Reds. Being able to go to the gala and see the event, playing with some of the guys that are in it, with guys I'm going in with or played against. It's pretty cool. I'm really excited for this. To have a legacy in Cincinnati is a huge deal. That's where I spent the majority of my career. I have so many friends and family friends that I still keep in touch with to this day. It's such an amazing city. The fan base is awesome. So genuine and down to earth. They love their Reds, and it's such a neat place to play. So I thought that was really cool. Like how he really shouted out the Reds because he played in some pretty good markets. He played in San Diego. He played in Oakland. So, I mean, to shout out Cincinnati like that, and you a lot of that from a lot of players, whether it's in the NFL or baseball or whatever. They always seem to gravitate towards the city, especially once their careers are done.
Yeah. And the Reds have always kind of had a very family focused, family friendly type of feel as a ball club. Post that Marge Schott, that's maybe one thing that I guess Broccoli Bob doesn't get a lot of credit for is that there seems to be a lot of guys that come back, right? It's not a situation where they're unwelcome or they're,
blatantly racist.
Yeah. Or have a situation where they're just like, I think of like the Sammy Sosa and the Cubs kind of relationship that actually just got, I think, mended this year. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like there's no situation where guys are like, not welcome back into the Reds family, one way or the other. Yeah. Whether they spent a couple years here or whether they spent their whole career, right? So that's kind of one thing that's been great for the Reds that you can see these guys in spring training, like Ryan McChrystal talked about. You can see Barry Larkin, who's a survivor of the shot years. You can see Eric Davis. You can see Johnny Bench, who's even further back, right?
Yeah.
Those guys are welcome with open arms back into the Cincinnati Reds family, and I think that's at least a positive quality they can hopefully always keep up, right? Hopefully there's never a moment where this narrative changes. You'd hate to see that, but for the most part, it's been like a great. I mean, I know we lament like they honor their history maybe a little bit too much, and they kind of embrace, it's been 50 years since the Big Red Machine. It's been now going on 35 years since, the wire-to-wire champions and whatnot. So, like, it's nice to honor history. It's nice to have these guys back, but let's make some new history, I guess, in 2026 is what I'm trying to say.
It's time to make new history instead of celebrate the past.
Exactly. So hopefully we can do that in 2026, and we'll recap this year and send it off and say sayonara. But before that, there was some positive news in terms of the free agency front for the Reds. A guy that Ricky literally called out. I can't remember exactly when you wrote that article, but a guy, left-handed pitcher, Caleb Ferguson, was signed this year. I believe the facts and figures of his signing was a 1-year deal, $4.5 million.
Yeah.
So not necessarily, a huge investment, maybe just kind of a prove-it deal because he's been kind of bouncing around different teams in the last couple of years. But a guy that Ricky was right on the spot predicting that with, the Schwarber and the Bellinger type stuff. But, Ricky, what were your thoughts on Caleb Ferguson? Right? Caleb? You were saying Caleb?
Yeah, Caleb Ferguson.
He's
He's going to sell tickets. He's local.
He's a Columbus guy.
He's from Columbus.
Yeah.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's extremely local, but I wrote about him in, I think it was like the first or second week of November.
Yeah.
When a lot of the free agency stuff was kind of picking up. My wish list was Devin Williams, Kyle Schwarber, and or Caleb Ferguson. I wanted one pitcher and a hitter was my free agency dream.
Yeah.
But he's a lefty. He's had a really good career overall. He has a 3.66 ERA and a 1.27 WHIP over 7 years. So he's been really reliable. I don't know if you saw that play he had earlier in the season against the Diamondbacks, I believe. He dove, caught a ball, and doubled the guy off at second base. So he seems to be willing to put his body on the line.
Tito's going to love that.
Yeah, he's a Tito guy through and through, which is good because if there's one thing we can agree on with Tito is other than opening day, he's handled this pitching staff admirably. I mean, I don't think you could ask for much more because, I mean, we had 3 complete game shutouts. The Reds led baseball in complete game and shutouts. So when's the last time that's happened? But yeah, Ferguson, he played for Pittsburgh and Seattle last year. So he had some playoff experience with the Mariners, and he joined Sam Moll as the only other lefty in the bullpen.
Yeah, not necessarily the greatest depth. It's a definite piece that we needed. We did add what's his name in the Rule 5 draft minor league portion, the former Brewer, a left-hander, for a little bit more depth in the minors. I forget his name though. But it's very, very, very thin left-handed pitching in our system at the moment. Unfortunately, River St. Martin's no longer here as well to help us out in that category as well. But this was,
I gotta say, that timing was just perfect with that day.
Tell me about it. That was
it was like less than 12 hours later.
I've been writing about him too a lot too because he had been in the Winter Dominican League for a bit. So anyway, but having Ferguson add to the depth, because honestly, I guess just out of necessity, Sam Moll needs to be on this roster. I guess in an ideal world, he probably wouldn't be, or he'd be in AAA all season working on whatever he needs to work on because he didn't have the greatest season. I know we ironically had a great Sam Moll moment when we went live after Chase Burns got basically his pitches tipped, and Sam Moll came in to kind of save that game from getting too out of hand. They still ended up losing the game, I believe, with CES going for a grand slam. So, what about a sentence of Chase Burns was bad, Sam Moll good, CES good? That doesn't. Yeah. That was a rare moment. But anyway, I don't think that'll be making the top 10. By the way, just but yes, having him with that experience in Seattle will be great. Yeah, you're right. The highlight of him putting his body on the line, run prevention hashtag is going to be great for just Tito trusting him. Do you think his role is the Brent Suter role? Like, is he the mop up guy? Is he the spot starter guy, or is like he's the guy they're going to come in the high leverage moments?
Mole or Ferguson?
Ferguson.
I think he's going to be more of a high leverage guy. I think he's going to be probably, let's just say a starter goes 6, he's probably like 7th inning guy.
Okay.
Or if a starter goes 7, he could be the 8th inning guy. But then I think it would just depend on the situation. Like he might be the left-handed 8th inning guy, and like Santillan and Pagan are your standard 8 and 9. But I think he shores up the bullpen like a lot. You have Connor Phillips, who finished the year, but nowhere near what we could have dreamed he could have. And I think there's a chance Suter comes back. I think it'll be on a cheap deal, but yeah, I think he could be what Sam Moll was in 23 and 24 when we signed him or traded for him. But it's a good move. What do you think? Do you think he'll be? What are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I don't know terrible amount about Ferguson and what I've been looking at through the week, but if he is more of a high leverage guy, I feel way better than that being the case, being like Sam Moll or like you said, Suter coming possibly back. If Moll could be like the Suter role where he's the mop up guy, like he did, like I said in that Red Sox game, or if he's the guy that comes in and spot starts because I don't know, Nick Lodolo has another kid or something, that'd be great to have Moll in that role because I'm not terribly high on Sam Moll. He's kind of in a situation where he's got to kind of prove it this year.
Yeah.
And we'll have an episode about bubble guys probably in January when we get back to it, about guys that really need to kind of prove it for this 2026 roster. And I think Sam Moll is one of those guys, to be honest with you, because he's not been top peak of his powers, like you said, in 23 and 24. They trade for him in 23, wanting him to be that first lefty out of the bullpen guy. And if Caleb Ferguson is what I've been reading about he's going to be that first bullpen or first lefty out of the bullpen guy, which will be great if we can have that stability. Because you're right, the David Bell Reds, you never know what you were going to get out of that bullpen. Yeah. You didn't know if you were going to get a bullpen game that would shut down the opponent, or you're going to get a bullpen that blew a 6-2 lead and then just collapse on the Reds and just have that. The PTSD of just having, like all that good offense, all that good defense, and then the bullpen gives it up type of thing.
Yeah, like that Pirates series late in 2023, I think.
Yeah. That's been honestly, I guess we talk about like Tito kind of being this old school manager. I think even before the show we talked about it a little bit, but like if we can get consistency across the board in our defense, in our approach to the plate, in our starting pitching, and in the bullpen,
yeah,
I think a lot of Reds fans, even though that, having high flying offense, having a Schwarber or a Bellinger hit the ball out of ballpark is exciting. But I think real baseball fans would be more excited about having the consistency and stability that you can expect out of a ball club 162 games a year, as opposed to the peaks and valleys. Nick Kroll quote again, as opposed to having those peaks and valleys. We don't want that necessarily because, then our heart rates go up and down a little bit too much, and we might not want to have to take that heartache every single week. But,
so quick thing on Ferguson, then we can move on.
Yeah.
He had 14 holds last year.
That's pretty
so good. He's not saving games, but he's in the position of holding a game, like 7th, 8th inning guy.
Yeah, hold's underrated stat. I remember when I was doing fantasy baseball, as I mess with my camera. Sorry, fantasy baseball being like a hold, like being like a underrated stat that doesn't really, I don't know, it's not sexy as the save, right? It's not as dramatic as coming in and shutting the game down, but it's an underrated part of the game for relievers that is necessary. You need a guy that can be the bridge from the starter, especially today's game where starters aren't going 8 and 9 innings every single time out. You need that bridge, that bullpen from 7, 8, 9, or 7 and 8, 6, 7, 8 maybe, to get to your closer. So if he can do that for us,
Yeah,
that's fantastic. I'm liking this signing more and more we talk about it, to be honest with you, Ricky. So
yeah. Batting average against last year was 229. That was his lowest since 2022. So, and his whip was his best since 2022 also last year. So good move. I like it.
Yeah,
It's not sexy, but
well,
it needed to be done.
Yeah, I would say the usual MO on free agent signings for the Reds are like guys that used to be good in 2022 and are coming off terrible years and have to just bounce back, like a Ty France, for example, claiming him, or Harrison Bader or whatever, right? Like guys that are just like
Will Myers,
you know what I mean?
Colin
Like,
Moran.
Exactly. Like guys that are just like Austin Hayes, like guys that just
Martini.
are like, just trying
to
like refine an old form that they may or may not have. But if his 2025 season is any indication, then I think he's going to be fine. And I think the Reds will be that much better if they have a guy they can depend on, especially, since our left-handed pitching depth is not great at the moment. So good signing, like you said. I like it, like I said, more and more as we talk about it. There was a poll question that we had that we can talk about really quickly. Thank you for all the guys and gals that participated in it. And we got like some 50 votes. I put out there, what do you give the Reds offseason grade? And I wasn't trying to lead the jury or whatnot, but obviously I gave them an option of good, fair, terrible, and other, and put in the comment. The winning vote, obviously, based on us in the post Kyle Schwarber or missing out on the Kyle Schwarber era, 52% said terrible. 42% said fair. I think I tend to agree with, I think our guy, Chatterbox own Craig Sandlin said other, incomplete. And I think that's the best way to look at our offseason so far, because it is technically incomplete. It's not necessarily, we're not done yet, hopefully, like you said earlier. So if we can possibly find that bat, find that hole in the lineup, an outfielder maybe, I think then we can really upgrade that terrible to fair to good. Honestly, someone said that there was a good offseason. I think one vote for that. So it wasn't me. I don't know who it was.
It wasn't me.
All right. So shout out to the super positive voter there for thinking that it was a good offseason so far. I guess it was probably an Emilio Pagan stand, if anything.
Yeah,
else.
It might have been Emilio Pagan himself.
Hey, thank you for watching the show, Emilio.
I posted that on Facebook. I shared it to the Carrick's Facebook group and the 4192 group. You can imagine how that went.
Facebook
D-, F-, C, lots of Fs, D-, F for fire crawl, G.
That makes sense. That one.
Yeah. And then D, only because they signed Pagan and Ferguson. It would be an F if they didn't. I would say a C. This is a positive one. I would say a C. Getting Pagan to sign for $20 million and a left-handed pitcher in Ferguson is great. Still needs some hitters. So at least somebody had a, legitimate answer to it. Daniel Lopez, I'll shout him out. He said incomplete. Lots of Fs. Carrick said incomplete. Here's one. We got a B-, but so far C+. So, hey, that might have been our one positive vote.
Hey, yeah, we'll take it. It is a bit early to judge it. I know the hot stove period, the winter meetings period, obviously you want to make a big splash and whatnot. And I don't know, the biggest splash is that Kyle Schwarber went back to Philadelphia. That's not a big splash. I'm trying to think of any other real big ones. I mean, that was a trade between the Orioles and Tampa and whatnot that went down, but that was
Pirates.
Yeah, Shane Baz.
Yeah.
So like the Orioles seem to be serious, right? Because he went to Baltimore. The Orioles seem to be real serious, adding Alonso. I forgot about that one too. Adding Alonso and adding Shane Baz and having a lineup that
And Taylor Ward.
Like I said, I had texted you. That was real early. I texted you earlier. I'm kind of jealous of the Baltimore Orioles lineup. A team that was, 2 years ago, won 100 games or 90 games?
Had a down year last year. They could easily take the division next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, easily. They still got a lot to contend with.
On paper, easily.
I got a lot to contend with at least.
The Yankees are always going to be there. The Blue Jays are going to be there. The Red Sox got hot. I don't know how they look. Really, I think they just acquired Contreras from the Cardinals just a little bit ago before the show started.
Oh, really?
So that I don't envy the AL East at all. That's going to be a very, very tough division to play in. To just because you could win realistically, you could win 90 games and not make the playoffs in the AL East.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And and then the Rays are just kind of there.
So, I mean, they got the number 2 pick in the draft.
So
which is crazy because we know how they develop talent. I mean, I hate bringing this guy up, but they lose Wander Franco, and then they immediately replace him with Junior Caminero. Oh, like it just like the magic of how it just kind of worked out. It imagine that the stuff didn't happen and they still have Franco and Caminero. Like you move Franco to third base, like they'd be, my gosh. Yeah. But not a Rays show.
No, not a Rays show. But there was a lot of weird, like, oh, the Rays are so good at trades. It's like, yeah, they got prospects and whatnot, so they're not going to be good this year, and maybe not next year.
They just develop them. They'll be back. Give them like 2 years. They'll be a 100-win team, and
once everybody kind of drops off for a bit. But again, not like you said, not a Rays show, but there was a lot of, I guess, Rays glazing for some reason. I'm like, that's fine, but like the offseason is to get your team better for 2026. If you're building for prospects, like, can you imagine if the Reds did that this offseason? Can you imagine the grades we would get if we traded a Hunter Green for prospects, traded a Lodolo for prospects? You know what I mean? Like, that would just send the fan base into
Stevenson.
Yeah, well, that might happen still, though.
That's our hot take for the offseason. Lodolo and or Stevenson.
Not aging well every single day that passes. Same with the Benson take as well. It seems like we're I don't know. There's a lot happening. They still got the 2 or 3 more weeks until they really start getting ready for the beginning of the season. I mean, Reds Fest and whatnot. So I don't know if you really want to blow up the Reds Fest vibes by trading a guy that I think Stevenson's supposed to appear. So like that would really kind of mess things up. But anyway, just a little tinfoil hat thing of like.
And then there was the last thing I guess we can talk about before the our meat and potatoes of the show. There was the report today from who was it? Bob Nightingale.
Oh yeah. That
the Reds and the Mets are the 2 favorites that are actively engaged in trade talks for Luis Robert Jr. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm kind of mixed on it just because if he can get back to what he was from his rookie year through 2023, he won a Gold Glove. He was an All-Star. I have his stats pulled up. I wrote about him today too. From 2020 to 2023, he was a 125 OPS plus hitter. So 15 or 25% above league average, 279, 327, 500, 46 stolen bases, 74 home runs. And then you go to what he was the last 2 years. That's 223, 288, 372 with an 85 OPS plus. But he's got 28 home runs and 56 stolen bases. So in 2 years, he's got more stolen bases than he had his first 3 years in baseball. And he's got half the home runs, so that's part of the problem, I think. But I mean, a lot of it is just Chicago has just been really bad the last 3-4 years, and he was kind of expected to carry the team, I think. And I think there will be similar expectations if he was to come here. But I think having, as much as people want to dog him, having a manager like Francona can help take away those expectations and say, hey, just go play ball. Because you're putting in one of the better defensive center fielders in baseball in Cincinnati, and then you can potentially move Friedel to left, and then you'll have Marte and right. Like that's a solid outfield. Like I like that a lot. But what are your thoughts on Robert real quick, and then what do you think a trade package looks like? Because they're wanting pitching depth now, and it seems like the price tag might be going down just because they're wanting to get rid of him. It's either they're going to have to take on a good chunk of the money to get good prospects, or you could just give up somebody like Brandon Williamson and like a bottom top 30 prospect maybe.
It's sounding a lot more likely than it did. Like I feel like we've been doing this merry-go-round with Robert.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like at the beginning of the year, remember, there was trade packages that wanted Cam Collier and Sal Stewart.
Well, that's the reporting that got done. That was like, no, like that's they're not.
Yeah.
So like, if it is true that the ask is becoming less and less and less, I mean, they got the number 1 overall pick. Like you were talking about, the Rays got the second one. They got an overall pick in 2026, and they just signed that Japanese star Murakami. So like, they might be rebuilding. You know what I mean? And he's going into age 28 season, so he's still fairly young. Like, I mean, that's not terribly old.
He's got some years left. I mean,
the two factors is the money, like you said, and then the health. He spent a lot of time on the IL in 2025, and it's not like you get healthier as you get older. So that's kind of the thing I'm most worried about. And if I'm the Reds front office, I need the price to be my price, not necessarily the White Sox price, because if it is asking for anything other than like a Brandon Williamson, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it only behooves the Reds to invest in a guy who might play 80 games, right? Like,
yeah.
I know they got this thing with Friedel, like he played too many games last year, and maybe they're exploring their options for a center fielder. Fine, but I think the way that we've been, talking about Hector Rodriguez, he might be that guy that can come in and maybe just relieve Friedel if he's having struggles and or injuries or what have you, or Benson if he's still around.
Reese Hines.
Yeah, Clay Stonen says that he could play center in Great American because it's smaller. Obviously. Yeah. To a bigger ballpark, you probably don't want Benson in center. That being said, we'll see what this opening day roster looks like in 2026. I don't think it has Luis Robert in center for the Reds.
I don't think it's a realistic trade. I think it's fun to think about it, but I would rather give a guy like Reese Hines a chance, honestly. I think he only had like 40-something at bats last year. Just let him play. He won MVP in AAA. Like, let him, or for your team anyway. He hit 300, had 20 stolen bases, 20 plus home runs. He's only the second 2020 player in Louisville bats history. Like, give him a shot is my take. But you're banking on the potential for the bounce back with him, and the bounce back is an all-star center fielder, and you're just kind of dreaming about it. Honestly, if I was in their shoes, obviously we know how the Reds' budget looks, but I'd say we'll take on the salary because we're not giving you a prospect that you want back. And I think the Mets are the only team that would do that realistically. But if I was the Reds, that would be my move.
Yeah, Robert also linked with the Mets last year as well? Like, it's been like a thing.
Yeah, it's like been the Mets and the Reds have been like the two teams consistently.
I don't know if that's just a thing. Like, this is just we're flirting again and again, just because the White Sox obviously are trying to build toward the future. Obviously my dad's still a White Sox fan and whatnot, but like they got a future all-star shortstop as well in Montgomery. So yeah. I think they want to build around him as opposed to around Robert, to be honest with you. And yeah, like Fred
isn't that Teal kid pretty good too?
The catcher, yeah.
Yeah.
The catchers are so hard. Like I know we got one in Alfredo Duno, who's 1 out of a million, but like it's hard to be like, you know what I mean? Like even like a can't miss prospect, that San Francisco kid Bailey. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's just a really solid defensive player. He's like, I don't know if this is why I guess I lament on Big Dumper not getting MVP. It's like because catchers, man, they don't get the love. they don't get the love because it's a hard position to play. You're talking
Yeah.
about a sport where everyone throws 100. Like,
Yeah.
and even the bullpen guys are throwing 100, and you used to hit 60 home runs. Like, anyway, it should have been his MVP. I'm sure Judge will win the MVP again because he'll have a great year. You know,
If Cal Raleigh was on the Yankees and Judge was on the Mariners, Cal Raleigh wins MVP, and he would be touted as the greatest catching season of all time.
Cal Raleigh's on the Dodgers. I bet he gets the MVP over Ohtani.
Maybe.
Just because like, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe voter fatigue isn't a thing in Major League Baseball, but like it is in other sports where MVPs kind of get parsed around. Like, otherwise, Nikola Jokic is the MVP every single year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So like, because he's literally like
there was that year that LeBron didn't win the MVP because Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah, all right. That
Derrick Rose deserved it, but like you're looking at LeBron that just whatever he did was insane.
Yeah.
There's Derrick Rose. It's like I think there needs to be like a definition of like what MVP actually is, and not I don't know, like because like the NFL is so weird to just call it MVQB, most valuable quarterback, because that's all it is. A running back's not going to win it anymore. I mean, you have Jonathan Taylor putting up insane numbers, not going to win it. It's going to be a quarterback that wins it, just like how Derrick Henry a couple of years ago with the Titans, who rushed for 2,100 yards or whatever it was, just unreal.
Yeah.
And it's always a quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess MLB loves Ohtani, but how can you not fall in love with the big dumper, man? Like that's, I don't know. I guess I just try to like shout out a guy who it'll be hard for him to repeat that kind of year, right?
They were a win away from playing the Dodgers in the World Series.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy too to think about it that way. That and it's not a postseason stat, or a postseason award, but that's I don't know. We're only human. We're just trying to help out these humans and get them their fair due because you know he's like I said, I don't think he's gonna have another 60 home run year. He could
hit 35 next year, and people are like, oh well, he's not the same anymore. He's lost a step.
Yeah. Anyway, it's sad. Any other thoughts about our guys here in terms of what were we talking about? We got off. Oh, the Red off season. Any other thoughts with that? I mean, hopefully, incomplete is exactly what we're expecting, and that this is not the end of the off season. That we're going to spend that. We're going to balance the budget. We're going to be fine going into 2026 with what we got, because I know between you and I that is just going to make the fan base just that more, I don't know, just frustrated at the very least to say.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the main thing of our show we're going to do today, since it's the last show of the year for 2025 for us, we're going to count down the top 10 moments of Reds baseball and whatnot, because some of my moments that I got lined up, not necessarily baseball moments, but we'd like to hear if you got any comments out there. I know, shout out Fred's in the comment section. If you got top 10 moments out there that may match ours, because I think there's a decent consensus on the number one, or at least the top 5 moments of Reds baseball in 2025. It was a very eventful year, and I like I said to Ricky, 162 games give you a lot of moments, one way or the other, good and bad. So, and having a winning season since David Bell's 82 and 80 team in 2023 is a good feeling as well, that we can feel good about our baseball team going into 2026. So long as that we can keep building on this momentum and not taking steps backwards. Hopefully Ellie's quad's going to be fully healed March 26, 2026, and we can not worry about him potentially playing all 162 and possibly re-injuring it or whatever and stuff like that. But I don't know where you want to start, Rick. I got some honorable mentions.
Yeah, let's go through some honorable mentions. I'll think of some while you're going through.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, I have some that are serious. I don't know. You want the serious ones or the joking ones too? Because I got some.
Mix them in. I'll see if they're serious or not. Well, it'll be a game.
Okay. So Top 10 or honorable mention moment for the Reds in 2026 is Ellie playing all 162. Taking a charter flight back from the Dominican, sitting between, Susie and Albert from, getting off their flight from the Dominican on vacation and coming home, and they see this 6'6" baseball player sitting there with them, possibly coming back to play. And the only reason why he played 162, Ricky, remember, is that they had that rain delay. They suspended the game. I think it was a Friday night game. They suspended to Saturday or Thursday into Friday, something like that. So, he only got to play because he made a pinch hit appearance in the suspended baseball game. Statisticians, will obviously, have this as a trivia question going forward. But that's where I'm starting for that. Any crawl comment ever? Because I can't even pick one, to be honest with you, whether it's the most recent ones or just some of the dumb stuff he says during the season that we always it's always good for content, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Chase Burns, 1 inning in the Speedway Classic.
He's through the first strikeout in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, I think when we talked about it, I think I compared it to the Robert De Niro, Wesley Snipes movie, The Fan, where it was downpouring rain the whole time during the game, but the umpire wouldn't call it because it was secretly Robert De Niro, who was a fan who snuck in and became the umpire and wanted the game to keep going or whatever. Shout out to that movie. That movie is a classic for me, but it's kind of creepy, to be honest with you, so spoiler alert on that. Fred says, I was there for the finish of that game, 8 hours at GAPP. I think it was bobblehead that day. Yeah, that was a crazy game. I think he's talking about when Ellie played the 162 or came back from his sister's funeral and whatnot. So, shout out to Fred for seeing that game. Here's one. Key Brian Hayes throwing out Dansby Swanson, and that replay where Dansby Swanson missed the bag.
Yes.
That was a great moment. I love that moment because the Cubs were so pissed that he got called out, and he just missed it by like a toe. And I mean, the Cubs fans are so pissed. Another moment. Ricky and Mike Hart's pregame show is going 9-1 to start the year.
Yes.
So that was great. Anytime you guys came on, we knew that the Reds are going to be at least competitive.
With that, what's funny about that is that we were the only two people in Reds country that were actively cheering for Jamer Candelario to do something. And it felt like he did something every time we were on, because I would just go on DraftKings and I would find their obscure stats for the game. I think the game that we had, the first game we did was the Rangers game. It was Brady Singer's debut.
14-1.
Funny, and the Reds blew out the Rangers. And it was like Jamer Candelario has a 9-game hitting streak against Texas. And I was like, book it. And sure enough, he goes 2 for 4. And then he slumps for 7 days, and we come back the next Friday, and it was Jamer Candelario versus the Brewers has 8 doubles. I was like, book a double for Jamer Candelario, and there he goes. He hits a double.
Wow. And
he did it. I think he had 9 hits on the season, and 7 of them were when we predicted him to get a hit.
I'm saying it should have been the pregame show for every single game. Jamer would still be on this team.
That was an experience, man. It was Friday Night Candy is what we coined our show. It was just Friday Night Candy because he had a home run on one of the days too. It was
nice.
It was a City Connect night. It was as Andrew Abbott was pitching, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, I say you kept him on. Well, I guess there's a counter argument that you guys should have been off the air, so Jamer would have been cut from this team a lot sooner.
Right. Or we should have been on the show, let him fulfill his contract, and we could have traded him.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Now we got to eat that contract for the next year.
Yeah. Another top 10.
Jamer Candelario getting cut.
Yeah. And then Ricky saying that he'd shave his head if he got DFA'd. And
and then I did.
That happened this year too. Another honorable mention for our top 10, Chase Burns' debut, man. That was electric. He came out there and struck out 9 or 10, I believe, and like 5.
He struck out the first 5 he saw, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And man, had he not given up a couple meatballs, like you were looking at a potential, 5-inning shutout, but he was looking great.
Yeah. That was, and then on the flip side of that, when we did our live show in the second start, we got his pitches tipped and he got killed by the Red Sox. So
Yeah,
after that, I guess that, or was that a second or third start?
that was his second start. He pitched against the Yankees his first start, the Red Sox his second, then he went to Philadelphia for his third, and the third one he bounced back.
Yeah.
And he kind of struggled towards the end. I think fatigue set in, and that's another one where Sam Maul came in and looked good for an inning and a third, I think.
Yeah, I guess Sam Mole's just got to follow Chase Burns and all his starts, and then he'll be fine. That'll be the biggest success. And another honorable mention moment is often put out there as a meme is the Ellie Tito dab moment.
Yeah.
In the celebration line for having Tito. Oh, and then also I forgot about that one. Ellie taking off Tito's glasses.
Yeah, during a pitching change, and I think they were losing too. That's what made it funny.
Yeah,
Like,
so
seriously.
So yeah, any I guess Tito Ellie interactions can make the honorable mention as well for whatever that may be. I can't remember any others, but yeah, that's all my. Oh, and then also thank you Marlins for beating the Mets.
Yes, we were live on that one. That was fun.
That was definitely
shout out Sir Boy Wonder.
Shout out to Pete Alonso hitting 120-mile line out straight to the outfielder. I forget what, I don't know if it was Connor Norby or whoever else is out. I don't know the Marlins outfield that well, but yeah, that was a special moment just to be able to be like, pressure's off.
That was a sigh of relief, man.
So yeah,
I got 2. One honorable mention, and these are kind of serious, but that Rangers game, Ellie hit 2 home runs, and then I think, if I remember right, him and McClain went back to back. I think
it could be. This is the torpedo bat.
Yeah, that was torpedo Ellie.
Yeah, that sounds right. Because McClain did have a strong start to the year.
Yeah, he was at 300 at some point in April, and then the bottom just fell. If I remember right, he went on the IL close to the Brewers series where we had lost like 3 straight 1-0 games. There's another moment in the year.
I will mention
losing 3 straight 1-0 games. That was insane. Or Jake Fraley hitting his first home run in was it against Seattle?
Grand slam.
Yeah, it was a grand slam. Like, he was struggling, man.
Yeah, shout out Jake Fraley. Thank you for your service.
And then I guess just shout out to Andrew Abbott and Ellie becoming All-Stars this year. And Ellie legitimately earning it with his play. He was on fire to start the year. Andrew Abbott was one of the best pitchers in baseball all year. Got in because of some injuries and some guys pitching on Sunday, but he deserved it regardless. So there's my honorable mentions.
Yeah, it would have been a bit of a travesty if he did not get an appearance at the All-Star based on how the year he was having going into the All-Star break. It worked out for the best. Same thing like Hunter last year, right? Like Hunter was doing great, wasn't named an All-Star originally, got named as an injury replacement, still fully well-deserving. So shout out to those 2 guys. Hopefully they can repeat as All-Stars again in 2026 and add Hunter as well. I think there we go. A hot take for you, I guess, before we get to our hot take section, Ricky. I think we'll have 4 All-Stars next year.
There we go.
I think that. I don't know exactly the 4. I think
I'll name them.
The shoe-ins definitely will probably be like Ellie because he'll get either fan vote or just the manager picking him to the bench. Probably Hunter, Abbott. I don't know. Let's say for me, Marte, your guy Marte.
Okay, I'll name 4.
Yeah,
and I know we have a take that Stevenson's going to get traded, but I'm going to go with Ellie, Stevenson, Marte, and Hunter Green. And then if everything goes right, there could be 5, and that would be Andrew Abbott being your second pitcher.
That'd be crazy.
But I think realistically, I could see a world where there's at least 3. I think you could see Ellie and Green, if Green is healthy, easily as your 2. But Stevenson's kind of like Fred says here in the chat, like Stevenson's due.
Yeah.
He's due to get hot and stay hot. Yeah, he does. He does owe us at least one All-Star season before he goes.
It'd be a heck of a time to do it since he's like 1 year from arbitration.
Going into a contract year, really.
Contract or free agency. So like that would be the time. They always talk about that for like certain sports and baseball and football and whatnot. The year before you become a free agent, that contract, trying to get that next contract will be. This would be a heck of a time to do it. So shout out to Ty Steve. Hopefully he can put it together and we don't have to worry about.
I'm weirded out by their contract situation. Like you're 3 years away from Duno, and 3 years from now you're looking at Trevino being like 36, and like Stevenson's gonna be 32. Like that'd be prime backup catcher. Age 32 Stevenson, or at least splitting time, not being necessarily a backup, but just maybe playing 82 and 82. But I don't know. I find it strange that there hasn't been any talks of extension for him.
Well, they did get that guy Rortfeld, whatever his name.
From the
so,
he's gonna be a Stevenson replacement.
That's why my take is that they're trying to find a suitor for Stevenson. Is that why sign this guy unless he's going to be in a trade package potentially? I guess.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know. We will see, but it's kind of a weird situation where they got 3 catchers now, and we know the Reds are not shy about having 3 catchers on the opening day roster. For
what was who did we have? It was Kurt Casale, Stevenson, and
Maley.
Yeah, Tyler
Luke Maley.
Luke Maley. Yeah.
Shout out Covington kid. So yeah, they're not opposed to it, but
sold a lot of tickets.
He paid his salary, so yeah, he's probably not on a lot, but he definitely probably got his family to get season tickets at least. So, so anyway, all right, we got our honorable mentions out of the way. Unless you got any of those to pop up, or anybody else out there in the chat got any honorable mentions of special Reds moments. Don't have to be serious. Don't have to be they could be funny ones. Obviously, our Nick Kroll ones. Gosh. Yeah. Any trade? Yeah. If Dano, I don't even want to.
I never understand it. Like, do we not know the player he can be? Like,
or are these just journalists that may not know the Reds org? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it's just fans that just don't understand the value of a catcher doing what he's doing.
There was that cold water that got poured on by a national reporter saying that Dano is too big to play catcher or something like that. They won't be able to because he's just. I mean, I don't know. Like the guy
Salvador Perez has played
big
15 years as a catcher in baseball, and he's a big guy.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe there's also a slight worry that his knees. You know what I mean? Like his catching is, like I said, it's a hard job. You're catching 100-mile-per-hour fastballs on your knee, crouched down for 9 innings. That's not easy work. So, like, I'm not saying that Dano should move away from catcher. I'm just saying he could play catcher for like 5-6 seasons and then play first base.
Or just DH. He could be the next Schwarber.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. We're predicting the future, but I think there may be some people that
people forget Kyle Schwarber was originally a catcher. Then they moved him to left field. He tore his knee up, and then they moved him to DH full time.
Yeah, it's not an easy position to play. That's all I'm saying. It's hardest position to play, and those guys. That's why I like the backup catchers because those guys are coming in to a situation that's not easy to play every day. Yeah. It's hard to get in a rhythm, but then also it's hard to play that position just crouched down so far. And then as Fred said as well, Votto came up as a catcher as well. So I forgot about that too. So yeah, it's
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, that's true. My guy I grew up with in Chicago, Paul Konerko was a catcher coming up as well and played first base. So, but anyway, let's get to our top 10 moments of the year, Rick. This is we came up with this before the show to hopefully bring some good vibes, good nostalgia back from 2025 season that was full of good moments and good times. Our number 10 moment, actually, I'm trying to think. You probably have to pull it up so I can talk about it. Number 10 moment. Oh, yeah, our guy, Tito. he came into the year, what, was 13 away? Or
50.
No,
He was 50 wins away from 2,000.
and there was a bit of a worry that he wouldn't get to the 2,000. And then all of a sudden, right before the All-Star break, boom, they got that 2,000 win. We talked about it a lot on our show. You put up all those pictures even of young Tito back in his Philadelphia days when he won, not many games there, but it all counts the same. But yeah, our 2,000 win manager, I think there's only 13 other managers. Yeah, 13
Yes.
all time that have ever had 2,000 wins. So surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, even though I feel like coaches are different, right? Like they don't have to retire. They can get, or maybe
I think they can get in while they're coaching, I think.
Yeah, because I want to say Greg Popovich is already in the Hall of Fame many times for all his stuff in the NBA, even though that he didn't even retire as of yet. He retired last year, but he got inducted a couple years ago. But anyway, the point being is that he's definitely getting into the Hall of Fame. It'll be interesting to hear his speech and whatnot when he gets in because, he likes to talk. He's a all shucks kind of guy even though he's from like North Dakota where his dad played minor league ball. The real Tito Francona played minor league ball up there. So, but yeah, shout out to our all-star manager. Oh, no, wait, sorry, that's the other guy.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Shout out to our World Series winning manager. And hopefully it'll bring more success to the Reds going forward. But any thoughts about Terry winning 2,000?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I know the way the season was going, it was like, are we even going to get 50 wins this year? And then, we do. And he gets us to the playoffs. And, I think there are reasons to not like how last year went with, handling the opening day. You bring in Jabot as your closer. Kind of a weird move, you ask most people.
Yeah.
But, he figured out very early on that Pagan was the closer. He handles the bullpen better than you can imagine. Like most managers do. I think that's like his bread and butter throughout his managing career has always been his bullpen. And the way he's handled the pitching staff. And I know Derek Johnson gets a lot of the credit with that, just developing pitchers, but I think Tito can bring out the best in the pitchers. And it's been fun to see his relationship with a lot of the young players, especially Ellie, with the whole dabbing and stuff. I guess it's pretty cool to see. And then the captain's chair also. They put the captain's seat in the dugout for him too. So I think I made a Twitter projection last year. It was January 31st. I had a picture of Ellie and McLean where McLean dunks on Ellie. And I said, I can't wait to see this 85 times next year. And people in the comments, this was, me really banking on Francona. A lot of people in the comments were either like, A, not enough, or B, way too many. And I felt validated, just kind of go, because I felt like it was an 80 number. I couldn't remember what it was. I went back. I was like 85. Wow. I can't believe how close I was to getting that right. But yeah. And then Fred says in the chat, look here, said Tito was worth 10 wins. Was he right? Well, I mean, how many wins did we have in 24?
77. Right?
It's close. I mean, that's a 6
wins.
7 win. Yeah, 6-7 win turnaround.
Okay. I see what you did.
I didn't mean to do that. My kids are if they're living, man.
Yeah. Yeah. 6 wins above replacement. It's not bad. If we do another +6, that's 89 wins.
That's also Hunter Green missing like 2 months.
Oh.
And like Ellie played hurt. Like if everything went the way 24 went in 25, he probably gets us close to 90. I don't think he hits 90, but I think he gets us close to 90.
Yeah, sure. And the other thing that you would just kind of mention, and I was kind of pointing out, we talk about how his old school approach to the game can maybe a little bit out of date, but the one thing that isn't out of date or like out of style is his connection with the players. Like we, obviously a lot of people went to bat and defended David Bell for being a player's manager and not necessarily, ruffling feathers and whatnot. And there were some moments where Tito would call out guys and whatnot, but it's almost like he probably, hopefully, is from, at least from my vantage point, he earned that ability to get at these guys and kind of call them out and keep them held accountable. And that's something we also talked about a lot this offseason and during the season. I feel that he gets at least, a strong enough relationship with these guys so they can joke around with him, A, and B, then can turn around and be, Papa Tito and say, hey, you know what, run that out, or do this way, right? Like, he seemed to have still that ability to still coach these guys hard, or at least be able to call them out when they need to.
Yeah. I was trying to find. I feel like with the Reds, when they have a manager that has managing experience, they typically perform better than a tenure of a manager who doesn't have managing experience. And
Yeah.
David Bell kind of got the longer leash compared to most managers who didn't have managing experience. Like, if you go back, Brian Price made it 4 years. Dusty Baker managed 6 years. David Bell managed as many years as Dusty Baker did. And yeah, I think it's, you could make the argument that Bell didn't have the roster that David Bell did,
Yeah.
or Dusty Baker had,
Oh,
but that's a long time. That's a long leash to not do anything with. I'm not picking on David Bell. I just feel like he was given a very long leash considering he didn't have prior managing experience. And like, you go back, like, I think were we Lou Pinella's first official managing gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he was manager of the Yankees in 86, 87, and 88. And then he was out 2 years. And then he managed the Reds from 90 to 92. So I feel like my theory has a point, but like, if you go back, like, there's only 2 managers that managed longer than David Bell and Dusty Baker, and Pete Rose and Fred Hutchinson and Jack Hendricks. Like, you have to go back to the 1920s. Jack Hendricks, Fred Hutchinson managed from 59 to 64. Pete Rose 84 to 89. Dusty Baker 2008 to 2013. David Bell 2019 to 2024. Like, you got Billy McKinney from 1938 to 46, won a World Series. And then you got Sparky Anderson, who had the Big Red Machine. So that's 2 World Series managers in the top 6 or top 7 in tenure for the Reds.
Okay.
And I don't believe we were Sparky's first gig. And we were, actually. There goes my theory. But he joined in 1970. He got 102 wins, and then he had an under 571. Then he wins 95, 99, 98, 108, 102, 88, 92. But like, Dusty Baker was a very well-respected manager throughout, before the Reds' tenure. I think it was the Cubs and the Giants, right? Before. And I don't know. I just feel like eventually we know that we're going to have to move on from Francona, whether it's from his own doing or a decision. But like, what are they going to do after that? Like, I feel like you have to pick somebody with experience, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then you just have a young core. You want that, right? Like, as much as David Bell.
That's what Dusty Baker did with the 2010 team. Like, right. He was there for a couple years before that, but he had a core that was coming. Like, he had Brandon Phillips already there. Votto was on the way. He came up in 2007 was his official rookie year in 07. Jay Bruce came up, Homer Bailey came up, Johnny Cueto was a young pitcher. Aaron Harang was like that veteran presence as your opening day starter. And then you bring in vets like Scott Rowland and Ryan Ludwig. Like he brought in experienced players with an experienced manager with a young core. Like that's what I think you need. And I think Tito, like that was the move to make. I don't think like he was my dream hire in the offseason, not because it's Tito, but because I would rather have him than go after another first time manager or who was the one from the Marlins? Skip Schumacher. Like it would have been his second job. But granted, he did good with Miami, but like if you could pick somebody who has experience, like that's who I want.
Yeah, for sure. No, well said. It definitely, this is obviously celebrating his 2000 win, but like his whole 2025 season had its ups and downs, but it definitely was on the more than up than down. Hopefully next year we're not questioning every single little decision he has with regards to lineups, with regards to maybe playing Ellie too long, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what 2026 holds, but 2025 was a pretty good start for Tito and getting us to the playoffs. We'll take that. Just got to build upon that. So, any other thoughts about our number 10?
Nope.
Moving on, number 9, which was a huge moment, according to John Boy. John Boy said this was the best moment for the Reds season, which it wasn't wrong if, this Reds season ended in May.
Right.
But this was the Easter Day game that they just kept scoring runs. I remember sitting there at Easter with my family, looking at my phone, going like, hey, all right, it's like 10-2, 14-2, 16-2. Oh, okay, this is cool. They're scoring lots of runs. They got 24 runs on the back of, as you see here on the graphic, Mr. Noel Marte and Mr. Thank you for your service, Austin Wins, our favorite Austin that played for the Reds this year.
Pro Austin show.
Exactly. And both of those guys had monster games. I forget exactly, but I think one of them
Marte had 6 hits, and I think Wins 6 for 6 or 7 for 8?
Something like that. 6 for 6, I believe. Yeah, I think Marte might have gone 6 for 7. One of them had one out. So what a terrible game that was for that guy who got put out. He had to put out. But both of those guys just broke out and killed the Orioles, which, ironically, I guess maybe the Orioles were just having a down year. They were supposed to be, I thought, pretty good this year to kill them at Baltimore, right? This wasn't like this happened at Great American Ballpark where the balls were flying out left and right because of, Great American Small Park being Great American Small Park. But this was in Baltimore, and they just demolished them. I think they won the series as well. So it was, or did they sweep? Was this? Yes, was this CES coming back into the fold? No, that was in May. I'm getting all my moments confused. But I believe they swept the Orioles in this series, and this was the Sunday game, obviously Easter Sunday.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay, so they won the series, and they just killed them. I don't know how much more else to say.
Yeah, so Austin Hayes was 4 for 6 with 4 for 6 with 4 runs scored, a walk, and an RBI. Gavin Lux was 2 for 4 with 4 runs scored, 3 walks. Marte was 5 for 7 with 7 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and the grand slam. And then Austin Wins was 6 for 7 with 6 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and a home run.
And this was also the point in time.
It was a bullpen game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That was crazy to think about that.
Randy Wynn got a 3-inning save.
Oh yes, shout out to Randy Wynn, his only appearance of the Red season. He came in. Yes, that weird baseball rule where if you come into the game and your team is winning and you finish the last three innings, no matter what the score was, because usually with saves you have to be within a certain distance, like 4 or 3 runs, right?
Yeah.
And if you do 3 innings, if you do the 7th, 8th, and 9th, you get a save no matter what. And I feel like that's not the first time that Reds players done that, but that was the one appearance for Randy Wynn, who has been released and now is a free agent. Unfortunately, is no longer with the Reds org.
I think my favorite moment from that game, and I think if I remember right, that was the same game LA made that catch.
Yep, because Suter was pitching.
Was Brent Suter's reaction to the catch, and the photo that I saw with it looks like a turtle. It was an incredible, just, and that's coming obviously, but I mean that was a what a day that was.
Yeah, all on Easter where you're with your family and you're just like, can you believe the score? That's what I was doing the whole time.
Right.
And yeah, it was also like, oh man, coming off the couple weeks ago, because it was, I think Easter was late April this year.
20th.
Like, at the beginning of April, we were getting shut out 1-0. So like, talk about peaks and valleys in the span of 1 month in April, where we're getting shut out 3 straight games, and then we do this. Maybe next year we'll have less of these, and we'll just be winning games, 1-0 ourselves, or I don't know. And also in April, like you said, Ricky, earlier, your first pregame show, they won 14-1.
Yeah.
What is this team? Like in April, we had no idea what this team was going to be because we basically had both ends of the spectrum and all in 1 month.
Yeah, it was a wild month.
So, shout out to Austin Wins and Noah Vimarte. They had a day, as they say. Moving on, number 8. Unless you got anything else with these guys.
No.
Number 8 is our guy Elly De La Cruz. It was an interesting moment because there was this is when Elly hit the home run in honor of his sister, or right after it. Was it the same day or the day after?
It was I think it was the morning of. It was an afternoon game
against the Cubs, I believe, right?
Yes.
If I also
off Jamison Tyone.
Yeah, I want to say it was one of the longest home runs of the year.
It was 117 off the bat, I think, too.
Yeah, so like this home run reverberated throughout everywhere because of the meaning behind it, and everyone. I think he didn't tell anybody until after the game. I want to say that something had happened with his family. It was not necessarily the biggest put out there news, after it happened. And then there was all sorts of little bit of weird kind of controversy that he did a different celebration in honor of her, but it was just his usual celebration because he usually keeps a pennant, a picture of his family around his neck. So neither here nor there. The point being is that this home run off the Cubs was in honor of his sister, and I believe one of the hardest hit and furthest hit home runs of the season off the stinking Cubs. It was just a great moment because, Elly, he's come a long way from Dominican in terms of in 16, I think is when he really started to try to play professional baseball and had to be separated from his family to go to an academy to be able to play baseball, and is not necessarily always with his family. He lives here in the States, obviously, and his family is still there in the Dominican. So there's a strain on the heart, especially if something tragic as his sister passing, can do to a guy, can do to anyone. So it's really cathartic to see him go out there and honor his family, and go out there and also fly out to the Dominican and come back just to go there for the burial and the honoring of his sister's life. So it's a lot of moments, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Not just the home run. The home run, I guess, is just the signifier of what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
This was just a great indication of Elly as just a human.
Yeah, that home run was 117.4 miles per hour off the bat, and it went 422 feet. And famously, I think Mike Ballantyne was on the show with me that week of that. I think you had something going on. The fan who caught the ball gave it back to him. So wow. I thought that was a cool moment too.
That is cool. I didn't know that part of it. That's awesome. And yeah, that being in Chicago, you never know, because sometimes they do that ball trick I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
It's kind of going around everywhere. Yeah, where they have like an extra ball in their hand and they throw it back. But anyway, that's not we're not talking about that. But yeah, shout out to Ellie. You know, he's as much as he's, you know, really dedicated to his baseball craft, he's even more so, I think, a family guy and really, you know, honored his sister in this way. And I think also, in a way, wanted to play so quickly, get back to the Reds to honor his family as well, because it's something that he enjoys. And maybe it's something that his sister would have probably, you know, approved of him getting back to what he likes to do best. So,
yeah.
But yeah, anything else on this moment in Reds 2025 history?
No.
So the next one, are we missing a slide?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it now.
Let's buffer, because I want to say that you also sent it to me. Number 7 event moment of the year. Oh yeah, our guy, Big Nick, the guy just had a kid this year, Nick Lodolo, had a shutout complete game. I want to say his first of his career, because he's had his injuries and whatnot. He's not necessarily been a guy that's gone deep into games all the time. So Nick Lodolo getting his shutout victory against, I forget the team.
The Cubs.
Oh, this is a big one in terms of making sure that division wins are that much more important as well. So shout out to Nick on this one. Like Ricky said earlier in the show, the Reds led the league in shutout complete games for starting pitching, which is a rarity in baseball as well, because analytics don't have guys going past a certain number of pitches. So to have 3 guys, Hunter Green, Lodolo, Abbott, all go for complete games in the same season, again, also kind of points to the point you made as well about Tito having faith in his pitching.
Yeah, so I got it wrong. It was against the Nationals. The Reds won 5-0. He allowed 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks. I think he threw another complete game against the Cubs, but I don't think it was a shutout.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the Nationals game, that must have been in the middle of the summer then, if I'm remembering right. So
July 23rd.
There you go. So he had post All-Star game. So you know, the Reds pitching staff, like Clay Snowden said, was playoff worthy, playoff quality. And this, him being technically kind of the third starter now, after Hunter and Abbott, shows you like the Reds need to build around this team. They need to add some bats, because you just don't get pitching like this every single day, right? Like you don't get this every single year. Quality starting pitching from Hunter Green, from Abbott, from Lodolo, and then the consistency from like a Singer with the upside of Burns and Louder. Like we need to really go after this window, if you will, in time before either the pitching gets expensive or the pitching gets injured, and then there's nothing you really can't control about that. But you just gotta make a push now, because Lodolo is still under contract, even though that he might be a trade candidate. Abbott, you know, still young into his career. I don't think he's hit arbitration yet. But
no, Abbott hasn't, no.
So we really got to capture this moment and go after it this year. I think 2026, with this pitching staff being still probably the strongest unit on this ball club.
Yeah, I think Lodolo overall in 25 had his best season as a Red, and it sucks because he's had to deal with the blisters. Like, that's been the only thing really holding him back is the blisters. He hasn't had any significant, you know, knock on wood, any arm injuries or anything yet. He's had I think a leg issue in 2023.
Yeah,
where he missed some time, but it's always been like his leg that 1 year or blisters, and it sucks. It's just the way it is, I guess. But you know, he pitched in the same amount of games as Andrew Abbott did this year, which is a testament to Lodolo. And he showed that he wants to win. He pitched in relief. I think it was the Brewers game, right?
Last game of the season, yeah.
Yeah. And they did everything they could he did everything he could to get the Reds in the playoffs. And I think if he can have that kind of year next year, he's going to get himself a hefty contract for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what the outlook looks like with him on the Reds per se, but yeah, I mean, he just hats off to him for his season last year, because just that's the pitcher we know he can be, was how he pitched last year. Is you have legitimately two number one starters in Green and Lodolo, and Andrew Abbott he doesn't have number one stuff. He just has number one results. And that's a dream rotation, to have three starters you can consistently rely on like that.
Yeah, for sure. And here Mario Posta says, I do think Tito being old school, that they really agree that he has an old school approach because he lets his pitchers get complete game shutouts. And that is a thing of the past, kind of a relic of old school pitching, is letting your starters,
save your bullpen.
Exactly. Yeah. Just have them finish what they started, basically. And that's exactly, it feels like Tito's approach. Honestly, it also shows a trust factor that he has in these young guys, right?
Yeah.
Because Abbott was a guy that got dubbed kind of, hey, he's just going to go out there 5 innings and then get out, right? Like, or he's going to fade after the All-Star break. So get him out of there in the 4th inning, right? So to have that faith in him, to push him past maybe where he's uncomfortable into another level, that's something that obviously, the new analytics approach would probably not do. So if you have an old school guy like Tito, maybe he's pushing this pitching staff, the starters and the relievers, because we also joke about how Tony Santillan and Barlow's arms are going to fall off because they pitch every other game. Maybe having those guys push through and basically get to another level in their career, maybe that's going to provide dividends more than, hopefully not injuries going into 2026. But yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely take a healthy Lodolo in 2026 to be our 3rd starter, because I think a lot of teams would really like him to be their 2nd and maybe their ace on some clubs.
Yeah, you put him on the A's, he's their number one starter, I think.
You put him on, I think, a bunch of teams, he's the number one starter. Pitching is hard to come by, especially left-handed pitching.
Yeah,
right?
He is going to be expensive.
Yeah. So, yeah. Trade him while he's hot. I'm just kidding. Anyway, any other thoughts on Big Nick, big dad energy now?
No, that was awesome, man. It was just cool to see him get his first complete game shutout.
Yeah, for sure. Long time coming.
Speaking of complete game shutouts, number 6.
Number 6, yeah. We're just going to go back-to-back with this is the Cleveland Guardians game, right? The game that was really kind of like talked about a lot for Abbott, because there was a point where he was getting right up there to his innings limit, up to his pitches limit, right? Or something like that. And like he was going into the 8th inning, got the double play to get out of the 8th inning. And then everyone's like, oh, he's not going to go back out there for the 9th, right? We'll throw
Here
out.
He comes.
It was a 1-0 game as well, if I remember right.
It was.
It wasn't like a game where it was 15-0 where they can throw a guy out there and if he gets into trouble early, they bring in the reliever. No, this game actually, it had stakes, and it was a big game because obviously something that I think we'll talk about maybe a little bit, but it is against the Guardians. It's the Ohio Cup, baby. This is a huge trophy. So
it's a big deal. We haven't won one of those outright in a long time.
It's true. 2014, right, was the last time, the David Price era or Brian Price era. I'm putting 2 managers together. But yeah, so this was a huge start. Also, just for his confidence. I mean, look at the look on his face. Like, we're like, I can't believe I did that. I guess is maybe what I'm reading off of his face. Like Tito let me go out there for the 9th inning and get this complete game shutout. So shout out to Andrew Abbott, All-Star Abbott, for getting that 9th inning done. And now we could talk about it as one of the great moments of 2025.
Yeah, I think my favorite moment from that game wasn't even on the game. It was on, I think it was Chatterbox's post-game show where they were live in the 9th. And I forget who the Guardians batter was, but, it's a towering fly ball to left field. And maybe the FanDuel camera gave it a little bit more than what it was, but Nick Kirby goes, well, there goes that. It
You
just
you think it's the guy that got DFA'd, Joel Kenzie, right? What's his name?
Noel.
Noel? Was it Big Christmas?
It might have been Big Christmas, but it was a big, long fly out to the right to left field, and just Kirby's reaction to that was like, "Well, there goes that," and then he catch it. He's just like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I forgot about that. This should have been higher up on our list.
Yeah,
It could have
like,
been just Nick's reaction of going like, "Well, see, that's what you get." I
that's
think
what you get. That's what it was. It was like, "Well, that's what you get," and then he's like, "Oh my god."
immediate regretting what he said.
Yeah,
So,
and then I guess another one too. I guess before we go on our top five, honorable mention was Jammer Candelario's at bat versus Seattle, where Trace just went absolutely viral and bonkers on him. He's like, "What are you doing, Candy? Like,
yeah.
swing the bat. Like, what are you doing? You're looking." And then he swings at a ball in the dirt, and Trace just gets up, and he's just like, you could tell he wanted to just unload on him. Like that was a moment, man.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I totally forgot about those aspects of this moment, and then that one as well. Oh gosh, this is we should have had like a bunch more honorable mentions now that I think about it. But yeah, that was definitely a good one. This is what you get. Right there.
Yes.
Shout out Andrew Abbott for making Nick Kirby immediately regret his words. Oh yeah, what a moment. Any other thoughts about our guy, Andrew Abbott?
No, just what a year, man. What a year.
Yeah, great year, all-star year for sure. Well deserved. Number 5? Are we on 5 already?
Yeah, we're up to number 5.
Dang. Top 5 moments of the year coming down the stretch. This is our guy, Will Benson, a guy that we really back a lot. He had spent a lot of time, I believe, before this series in the minors, just toiling away, waiting for his moment to come up and make an impact for the Reds. And oh, did he make an impact. This was the Guardian series, I believe, where they went out and swept. Another Ohio Cup. This is what we're talking about, baby. This is what matters to us here at Red Hot Reds. We're getting those trophies. Put up that banner.
Hang the banner.
Hang the banner, baby. And thanks to Will Benson killing his old team, which is, I don't understand it. I kept saying, I think in our show and shows after that, you think the guy that you'd have the deepest scouting report on was the guy that was in your minor league system for 5 years. But neither here nor there. Maybe it's a different manager. Maybe they lost the files. Maybe they deleted it. Who knows? Will Benson killed the Guardians, swept them, had a Player of the Week, I think, honor for it as well, where he just went off, and it was an indication of what Will Benson could be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not necessarily consistently enough for Tito and company to keep him on the roster and keep him playing. Obviously, Ricky, you have that famous stat where he homered in back-to-back games, and those 2 games were 30 days apart.
Yeah. I forgot about that too. Had a home run and back-to-back plate. I think it was back-to-back plate appearances.
Yeah, or starts or whatever it was. It was just like because it was like at the beginning or the end of July, and then like the end
August 1st. It was like July. No, it was August 1st and September something. It was something weird.
Yeah, just unfortunately, Will did not get as much playing time. He'll definitely probably be in that episode that we talk about bubble guys, because he is a guy that is on the bubble a lot and should be on the Major League Club unless they do add guys, right? Like, I guess maybe that's the bubble aspect to Will Benson, is that if they do add a legitimate outfield bat, that makes less space for a Blake Dunn, a Reese Hines, a Will Benson.
Well, not according to Nick Kroll. Blake Dunn's their guy.
Yeah.
But like Will Benson against Cleveland was 9 for 19. That's 474 batting average with the 1.658 OPS, 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, and included 2 go-ahead RBIs.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I want to say, because I should have put it on my honorable mention, this is not even including the or is this including that game where he had the game-winning hit against oh man, now I gotta go back.
Was it the Rockies series he came up?
I want to say because they were in trouble of losing the series to the Rockies, which this is now starting to make a little more sense. It was the end of June, June 29th. Yeah, or is the Padres? This is the Padres series. I think he got the game-winning hit, I believe, and they ended up winning the series against the Padres. Unless I'm confusing it with something else.
So, according to Google AI, he won Player of the Week in May.
That was the Guardians series, I believe. It was in like mid-May.
I'm trying to get, here we go, MLB.com. It has Benson is his first career award. And the first Red since Reese Hines last 2024 to win Player of the Week.
Yeah.
And funny enough, a White Sox player won Player of the Week for the American League, and he was the first White Sox to win since Luis Robert in 2023. So funny little connection there. But Will Benson, I'm trying to find his stats for the week. He 10 for 19, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, a double, 3 walks, 5 runs scored, a base, 1.368 slugging percentage, and a 591 on base percentage. And it's not showing me the games that he played.
I pulled up Reds Daily 4, as heard on all broadcasts.
Nice.
Will Benson winning the series against the Padres on June 29th with that walk-off hit. And that's the one that I remember Will Benson the most for because he had not been playing a lot, as just like going into the Guardians series as well. But the Guardians series obviously had 3 straight great games. But he ended up being the guy that got the game-winning hit against a good Padres team, right? Like the Padres have been really good. I can't remember how many games they won this year, but they had not been, a slouch. And coming in here and beating them on the June 29th game, that's again, I'm just adding this to the top 5 moment, just to help Will Benson's case for having a great moment or great couple moments, I guess, in 2025.
Yeah, Padres won 90 games.
Yeah, so you win a series against, unless this was like I can't remember. This might be also a situation where the Padres had won the first 2 games and we needed to avoid a sweep type of situation because that's also something the Reds did a lot in 2025.
Yeah.
But, let me see. Yeah, the Reds, they won the last game of the series because – no, they won the series. They beat them game 1, 8-1, and then they lost to the Padres game 2 of the series, and then they – walked them off on Sunday. So shout out to Will Benson. Shout out to the Reds always playing to their opponent level, right? Like they they often like to lose series against the White Sox, famously, and the Athletics. But if the Padres come to town, let's go.
That's a hammer down.
Yeah. They beat the snot out of the Guardians, a team that won 90 games in 2024. So maybe we just got to get on the MLB schedule makers and make sure the Reds only play against teams that made the playoffs. I know that's not possible, but a guy can dream.
Yeah.
But anyway, any other thoughts about William Buchanan Benson?
Give him a chance. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. Co-sign that. Number 4. Ricky kind of alluded to this one. This, I think you're right, happened the same game. I guess this is why John Boy said it was the greatest moment or greatest game in Reds history in 2025 is the fact that Brent Suter lost his mind watching this guy splay out all 6'6" of them out to catch what would have been just a little bloop duck snort out into the outfield single. But no, Ellie De La Cruz is an outs above average monster. That basically just took this hit away from, I think what it might have been Gunnar Henderson, right?
I think it was, yeah.
So just shout out to Ellie. He's obviously a freak of an athlete, but he'll make plays that no one in baseball can. Erasing this hit, not that they really needed to have a lot of run prevention in this game because they ended up winning 24-2. So I don't know, maybe the Reds peaked on Easter Sunday, and then everything else was kind of just valleys, basically. but anyway, yeah. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to the the weird shadow that got cast on Brent Suter from that image. Because like he
find
jumped
that
up,
picture because that's hilarious.
yeah, he jumped up too with like a little spider looking like splaying out just because he was so excited to see De La Cruz catch this ball. And I want to say this was like the first or second inning. It was like really early on in the game. It was not necessarily like a ninth inning saving hit. Spoiler alert, we got some of those coming. But this was like a weird, just like super athletic play that you'll never see. And just like Mario Post is saying, this was just like an iconic sports picture, right? Like you get those kind of pictures in sports where you just kind of like, you're just like, wow, they captured this moment in time. Like another one, for example, which I don't know why I keep going to NBA references, but you remember that picture when Kawhi Leonard hit that shot that bounce when he was on the Raptors against the 76ers? And what was his name? The big center was like underneath.
Joel Embiid?
Yeah, Joel Embiid couldn't believe that the ball went in the hoop.
Yes.
That picture like is an all-time sports picture. This one can go down as well as like an all-time sports picture of just capturing a moment, seeing it, in live probably doesn't do it justice because it happened so fast. But like how you're got this picture here, and I don't know if you have the other one pulled up and ready to go.
I'm trying to find it.
No, I still trying to find it. But either way, go look it up. With especially how Mario Posta says with Suter kind of like jumping for joy, like a kid playing on a 9U baseball team, travel teams. Like, wow, the big star shortstop caught the ball. I can't believe it. I'm just gonna jump around like a little kid. Which, if you know Brent Suter at all, his personality, he kind of is not that far from being, just an oversized kid with some of his silly antics and whatnot. But yeah, it's still an iconic moment in time for the Reds. And kind of just also encapsulates like what Ellie like can be. I know there's all those people that kind of go, hey, he shouldn't play shortstop. He should transition to the outfield. But then you wouldn't get moments like this, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't get moments where he has the innate ability to steal hits and just, I mean, it speaks for itself, just how amazing just this one moment is. Obviously, this doesn't encapsulate his whole shortstop playing capability, but it just shows a moment in time where he's at.
You don't get moments like that. Third basemen don't make that. They don't have the opportunity to make that kind of play.
No.
Like obviously it's up the middle, but like just in third base in general, like you're looking at more bare hand type plays, not diving, lunging for balls.
Yeah, I mean there are some hot shots that if you're diving, toward the line and whatnot, that you get some reaction plays and whatnot. But this type of play is 1 in a million, and he made the play. That's I guess the biggest thing. He made the out, right? So shout out to Ellie, shout out to Brent Suter in that photo. Check it out. Maybe we'll post it on our Instagram and our X and whatnot to show you how iconic that photo was. Oh, Ricky's got it. Never mind. Don't look it up. We got it right here for you. So.
All right. Let me get it on the actual PC here.
All right.
I found the account.
Yeah. So yeah, again, this is. I guess I'm running out of words. I guess this is the as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, because that's kind of what this is. Honestly, I don't know if there was anybody else that kind of reacted as well. I'm curious to see if there's any other guys there, McLean or whoever else. Maybe the outfielders are kind of like, oh, dang, just to see what their reaction would be to this play, because it's you have to. It's one of those that I don't even know. The Sports Center still do a top 10. It had to be the top play of the day.
You would think,
but also. This is also the same day that Noel Marte and Austin Wynns went off for combined 12 hits and 13 RBIs. So that's kind of.
Right, so I got to remove this and then add this. There it is.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at Friedel.
Yeah. Come on, zoom out. There we go. Look at that shadow though.
Yeah, that looks like AI, right? Like that looks fake, too, but it's not. That's real. That actually happened. So shout out to that. Friedel can't believe it either. He's got his hands above his head. The guy at second base is kind of like, do I need to tag up? Do I need to get back to the bag?
Yeah, the funny part is that's Ellie on the second base side of second base.
Right. Yeah. Where's McLean or whoever else is playing second that day? But yeah, that's kind of the funny thing is that he's got that range, dude. He doesn't just stay in his position. Obviously, there's been other plays that he's made where he's gone way out of shortstop to make the play, and right or wrong, depending on what kind of philosophy of baseball you have.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out Brooke Wesley on Twitter for retweeting that, because the Reds posted it and it just says the Cincinnati Reds are winning 15-1, and then she just retweeted it. She got 3.9 million views off that. It says the shadow is killing me because it looks like a turtle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's. I guess that's just a little small details of that photo. That's awesome, and it's great that we can share in this iconic, as Mario Posta said, for sure. But yeah, can't say enough about that play, even though it did happen within the context of a game where the Reds just killed it anyway. So
yeah, it was just overall that was what a game that was in general.
Yeah. All right, moving on to number 3. This is where we really get down to big time plays for the Redlegs. Number 3 is the game winning catch. Not just robbing a home run, not just robbing a guy from, rounding the bases and scoring a run. This was like I think Ricky said, like a top of the 9th, and there was a couple guys on, I want to say, and it was
a close game too.
It would have put the I'm trying to think.
Was that versus the Brewers?
It could have been. No, I'm trying to think. It was definitely the last out of the game. Tensions were high because obviously, Pagan's not like a ground ball pitcher, so he came in and gave up a fly ball that could have potentially put the opponent ahead, and it just ended up. I didn't watch this game live, so I'm struggling on my recollection of it. I just remember hearing about him robbing it, and also shout out to our Cincinnati Reds fans that don't get in the way of it, get in the way of our players trying to catch this ball, because as you can see in this picture especially, he's obviously keeping his hands to himself, so to speak, because there's been.
All right, I have the 9th inning play-by-play recap.
All right, here we go.
It was 4-2. Reds were leading going into the top of the 9th. Pagan comes in. Reese Hoskins pops out. Isaac Collins strikes out. Caleb Durbin reaches on an error to shallow infield, throwing error by Ellie. That's what happened. Okay. And then Jake Bowers would have tied the game with a 2-run homer, and Friedel caught it with 2 outs.
Yeah, that I remember hearing about that game, I think after the fact, and being that they were just that close to losing that game, or at least going to extras at the very least. So like that. Yeah. Shout out to TJ Friedel, not necessarily known for his hops or his ability to cover at center field. So this was kind of not necessarily, I don't know, it's not something that he's known for, but for him to pull off this moment in a year where every single win really mattered, every single win against the Brewers especially mattered to try to get into the postseason and try to, be competitive in this division. It's really an impressive feat from TJ. So I think we're underselling this moment, because TJ doesn't have these kind of, defensive plays that often, right? He's kind of been, I don't know, not necessarily, he's not a negative player in the field. Oh, here we go.
Center field, Friedel. At the wall! He made the catch! And the Reds win! He takes away a bomb from Bowers, and the Reds survive to tie the series.
That's crazy. Anytime you can beat the Voodoo Brewers, you do it, because you never know, man. I mean, just think about that Sal Frelick play where he had that double play where he didn't catch the ball in the outfield and then threw a guy out at home. So, like, anyway, enough about the Brewers, not a Brewers podcast. We are – I think we're – I don't know. We will have to reveal the voting on this. I'm just kidding. There was no voting on this. But I think this one's actually a pretty underrated play. Like, it could have been 2 or 1, depending on, obviously, if other things didn't happen this season. But there was
2 and 1 for me. I'm not gonna spoil it, but 2 and 1 were just more of matter of importance in the season, I guess. But
for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if we had a different the way the season played out, and the moments in 1 and 2 could have been shifted around with this one, right? Yeah. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's like I feel like TJ is not necessarily a guy that does this type of play regularly, and for him to do it and to win a ball game, that's like top-notch stuff for him, is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
But yeah, moving on, if you don't have anything else on this one, number 2 is, again, another big play as well, because this was coming down the stretch of a season where we needed to win games. I think we're coming into this after being swept or a couple weeks removed from being swept from the Dodgers and being swept for the first time this season. But Hunter Green getting his complete game shutout against the Cubs in a 4-game set, which I'll add
September
on
18th. It was late.
Yeah, so like I want to say that this 4-game series was the biggest 4-game series in Great American Ballpark history. We don't get a lot of 4-game series, which is why I'm trying to do a little verbal trick of saying that this 4-game sweep was huge because all 4 of those wins ended up mattering a lot. If they lose one of those, they're not in the playoffs, right? So, like, the Reds kind of benefited as a little caveat because I believe right before Hunter Green was to pitch on September 18th, the Cubs clinched a playoff spot. They didn't win the division. Obviously, the Brewers did, but they clinched a playoff spot at the very least. So they kind of partied a little bit in Chicago before making the trip down, Cincinnati. And so I don't know, Hunter Green, I'm not trying to take away anything from him because you still got to go out there and get the win. You got to get the shutout. And I think it was a 1-hitter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a no-hitter going into the 9th.
Yeah, on Fox.
Seiya Suzuki got the hit.
On Fox, national TV as well. But they were a bit hungover. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
But you still got to play a baseball game. It's on the schedule, and Hunter Green got the job done. Like I said, started the 4-game sweep that the Reds really needed.
Desperate, yeah. So going back, the last series in August was the first time they got swept. They got swept by the Dodgers. And then they go back home. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals. And then the Blue Jays come to town. And we lose 2 out of 3. And then the Mets come in. We win 2 out of 3. And then we take 2 out of 3 against the Padres. Get swept by the Athletics. And then go to St. Louis. Take 2 out of 3. So it was like we were kind of spiraling a little bit. Like we were like losing our identity from what we had for the majority of the season.
Yeah.
And then Chicago comes to town. And game 1, just 1-hit shutout. And then, that was Friday night. Who pitched Friday night?
I remember watching the game. I thought it was Thursday that was Green start.
Or this might have been Monday night. Was it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
No, I'm pretty sure it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday because my father-in-law had tickets to the weekend game.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It was the first game of the series was Hunter Green.
Yeah, it was a Thursday night.
We won 1-0 twice. That's what threw me off.
Yeah, I think the Sunday game might have been a 1-0 as well.
It was.
With Abbott potentially or somebody like that.
Let's see. I will.
No.
That was the 21st. So that would have been combined. Abbott threw 4 2/3, 5 hits. Martinez came out of the bullpen. Ashcraft came out of the bullpen, and Santillan came out of the bullpen.
Yeah. So 2 1-0 victories is, I don't know, balancing out the world, finding its level, water finding its level with that losing 3 straight 1-0 games kind of thing. But no, this start set the tone though. Like it was like
it did.
We needed wins, like you had mentioned, losing to St. Louis, losing to the Dodgers after never being swept and getting finally swept by them. It needed to happen, and Hunter Green's the guy that you want on the mound at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean you couldn't have asked for. I mean, that was a playoff game, before the playoffs started. That was playoff atmosphere. That was, you're playing the Cubs, who were leading the division for a lot of the season until the Brewers just got scolding hot. And it's that moment is he proved that he is the Reds ace that game. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way in the playoff game, but those are games you learn from as a young pitcher. He's 25 going into his age 26 season. Like, he's a young pitcher still. And I don't know. It's just, you can't just throw out any guy. Like, that's the guy you want in that situation.
Oh, for sure. It kind of justifies a little bit of because obviously we had a little bit of that controversy where Mark Sheldon's reporting revealed some inner thoughts of the Reds org saying, hey, why didn't you come back sooner from your groin hip issue? And it's like, well, if he forced it and came back too soon and didn't skip that rehab start and went through with that rehab start, maybe we don't have this moment, because maybe he gets injured again because he came back too soon. That's a possibility.
Back on time.
So if you have him down the stretch in September when you want him, that's I'm not telling the Reds or how to feel, but that's right. I mean, this is why you want this guy healthy. Is if he's not healthy, he's not going to be able to pitch like this. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, shout out Green for knowing his body, not overdoing it. Because if you remember, he did come back and then he went on the IL again.
Yeah,
and so he obviously, you can't say he didn't try, because he did try, and I think that gets lost in it too in a lot of the media.
Yeah, for sure. So hopefully 2026 is a much, much, much more healthy year for Green, because we will gladly take that type of pitching performance or anything close to that, because like you said, he's the guy, he's the ace. And if he could do that against, even though it was a hungover Cubs team, he could do that against a sober Cubs team as well. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, anything else with this moment? This one only, I think, not to preempt it, but if this moment doesn't happen, that's why I'm talking about with the TJ Friedel catch. Like, if this moment doesn't happen, then the number one moment's not the number one moment. So, that's why I'm saying, rearranging the deck chairs type of thing, is that I feel like TJ Friedel, that number 3 moment would be the number one moment in 2024, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Or
had this moment not happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, if anybody can guess, I don't know if anybody out there is still with us, the number one moment, I think, that saved the season, and that's not hyperbole at all. This moment right here, Noel Marte, a baby-faced outfielder that has never played outfield before 2025, went out there, learned the position, and basically, I forgot how many games in, maybe 60 or so games of outfield before this, maybe less. I can't remember.
I don't think it was even that. It might have been 20.
Wow. So, a really, really fresh outfielder goes out there in a game that saved the series as well. Because if you don't remember this, Ricky, the Reds were about to get swept by the Pirates at home. They lost against Skeens in game 1. Unfortunately, obviously, that can't do much about that. We went to extra innings in game 2 of this series against the Pirates, lost. And now we're going to a day game, a 12:30 start, where it's a getaway game. You never know what can happen, right? You can have a great pitching performance. You can have a great offensive performance that hopefully guarantees you the win. The Reds eked it out. I think it was 2-1, right? They win this game. And if Marte doesn't catch this ball, this game is 2-2, and it goes extra innings again, where they could potentially be swept again by another terrible team like the Athletics. So
Yeah. So for the season, I don't know how many games were left after this game. I got to remember what the time frame was. There wasn't many games left in this year, right?
This was late
the
September.
This was the last home series, and then
Yes.
we went to the Brewers, right? Was it right after was the Brewers? So there was 3 games left in the season, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
So this was his 51st game in the outfield.
So not even half a year.
And that's not counting the 2 games in center field. So really it's, I guess, 53,
Yeah.
53rd game in the outfield.
Total. Yeah.
Yeah, because he played a total of 56 in the outfield, 4 at shortstop, 122. Or, 34 games at third base last year.
Yeah. So this was game 159 of the season. This was, like you said, 3 games to go. Or nothing. The game, the season is dead.
They lose this game, the Brewer series, no matter how if it goes the same way it happened, they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, or at the very least, I think it was the scenario. I guess if
the
they
Mets
do,
the Mets would have had to have lost
all 3 games, and the Reds would probably have to win all 3 games, type of thing.
Yeah.
So just craziness in the permutations that could have happened if this doesn't go this way. But neither here nor there. He did make the catch. It's now a bobblehead.
Yes.
Ricky, next year, April 11th, I believe, against the
we'll
Angels.
be there.
Yeah, I think we'll be there. That's our April game. That was the game we went to with the Grand Slam for Ellie, which I should have put on the honorable mention as well. Grand Slam for Ellie back in April when they swept the Pirates back then. So
I didn't want to fill this thing up with Ellie plays.
Well, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could have been the Ellie top 10. We could have done that.
I mean, we could do that. We could. That'd be our first episode of the year. So Ellie top 10 plays.
Yeah. We'll put it out on his birthday in January 11th or whatever his birthday is. So shout out to Ellie. But yeah, this game, man, going into this game, like losing the first 2 games of the Pirates series.
Yeah.
Obviously the Reds had that mentality of always salvaging a series and never getting swept. Like they needed that, they needed that feeling, that determination more than ever in this game. Like we said, it was the last home game of 2025, unless they somehow magically made a playoff appearance with a home game, but they didn't this year. But it's just so crazy that all this could have changed. Like I said, like the Hunter Green start has less meaning. Maybe the other moments that we also had might have more meaning. Like John Boy said, John Boy Media said that the Easter game was when the Reds peaked. I don't know, man. This is like the peak of Reds fandom. And then going into Milwaukee, winning 2 out of 3 was pretty dang special. And luckily, we can all be on this side of history and look back on it fondly and not necessarily, kind of just kick ourselves about getting swept by the A's and losing 2 out of 3 to the stinking Cardinals, who are, they stink as well. And then also losing, to the Pirates in 3 games at home when you needed it the most. So luckily we're on that timeline, as they say, right? There is a multiverse that probably Noelvi Marte gets interfered with by the fan or drops the ball or whatever. But we did not. Luckily we're on this timeline where Marte caught the ball. And I forgot about this. I think we talked about this as well. Noelvi Marte in this game, because this was, I think, the bottom of the 9th, right? He made all 3 outs in the bottom of the 9th. This was out number 2, by the way. So he had to not only rob a home run to keep them from getting tied 2-2. I want to say it was from your guy Brian Reynolds.
That's who hit the ball. Yeah.
So he had to gather himself after robbing the home run and then put out the 3rd out. What? Like, I guess we should be talking about this whole inning. the whole
Yeah.
sequence of Marte getting all 3 outs to save the Reds season as a first-time right fielder ever in his
Yeah.
life. Like, yeah,
Not
like,
even a half a season, like a third of a season in the outfield.
yeah. I mean, the faith that they have in this guy to play a new position, to obviously they wanted to do it to get his bat in the lineup any way they could, and they didn't necessarily like his defense at third. But, I mean, if he drops one of those 3 outs, we're probably talking about a whole different moment in history for the Reds, right? It could have been totally different. And like I said, credit to Marte for robbing that home run for out number 2, gathering himself, and then, catching that 3rd out. Because that's got to probably feel great that, you know what I mean? Like, he at least he made the hardest play. But sometimes, I don't know, baseball, obviously you got that concentration thing. Sometimes the simpler plays might be a little bit more, it takes a little bit more concentration, if that makes sense, because you're not just going for it like this. He's going for it, right? But like maybe like how Ellie makes some errors that you're just like, how is he doing that? Maybe it's just harder to play baseball when a ball is hit as a can of corn and you have to concentrate and just make sure you squeeze the glove and not lose your focus at all. But anyway, shout out to Novan Marte, your guy, for the number 1 play of the year. Any other thoughts you got here, Rick?
No, it was an incredible catch. I know on Twitter we kind of had I won't say a back and forth, but there was a Twitter account that, is this the greatest play in Reds history? Is this the greatest catch in Reds history? And I responded with the Ryan Friel catch from like 2006. Granted, it was a mid-season. It defined greatness, I guess, is my take. Clutch. This is the most clutch catch in recent memory for the Reds. Just situation-wise, I think Francona said it. This is the greatest catch given the circumstances, right?
Yeah.
But if Statcast was around when Ryan Friel made that, I was at that game. I was 13, I think, and not too far. I was in like section 143, about 10 rows back. And he was shaded in more, playing, pull host was up the bat. So he was playing in to give himself more room for an opposite field hit. Because generally you're thinking opposite field's not going to be as much power as pull side. And I would say that ball probably if Statcast was around would have a less than 20% chance as catch probability, and he probably covered 200 feet. If you look at the angle of it, I mean, he was straight 90 degrees running towards this ball, dives in the warning track, has the awareness to get up, nearly doubles off the guy at second base. I mean, you watch the reaction by Eric Milton. He knows that ball's in a gap. No one's catching that ball except for Ryan Friel. And it's, in my opinion, just being a Friel fan. I think a lot of people that grew up as Reds fans in the early 2000s where there wasn't a whole lot going on, Ryan Friel gave a lot of hope for Reds fans just because of the way he played the game. He played the game like a little kid. In a lot of ways, Ellie does today. But obviously, Friel's not as talented as Ellie is now. But that catch, in my mind, is the greatest catch in Reds history. But I'm not taking anything away from Marte's catch because, like you said, if Marte doesn't catch that ball, even if he pulls it back in and it lands in the field of play, and Reynolds hits second base, who knows what happens the next at bat? It might not be a lazy fly out to right field. It might be a ball in the gap and that runner scores anyway. Like we don't know what happens.
Yeah, for sure. The Friel catch, I think what stood out to me is like degree of difficulty. I'm not saying this is not a difficult catch, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that any stretch of the imagination for Marte.
Right. We're not downplaying Marte's catch one bit. I mean, it's our number 1 play of the year for sure.
Yeah. I would say this is a more important catch. If we're going to go that angle, because this obviously has much more ramifications on the Reds season than possibly that play in 2006 for the Reds. With
No doubt it did. Yeah.
So that's where we can maybe split hairs for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, any other thoughts about this one? This one was so iconic they made a bobblehead. So just think of it that way.
I mean, it's the most iconic catch in the last 20 years. It's the most important catch. I couldn't even tell you how far to go back as far as in my lifetime, I would think, just for the implications of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible catch. And to add all of that into it, first time outfielder who learned to outfield on the fly midseason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that adds all the context around it, all the fact that it was the game 3, that they had lost the first 2 games, that they had to have it, all that context amplifies this catch a lot. So, yeah, I think this is definitely a number 1 moment for the 2025 season. You know, unfortunately, unless the Reds had won a playoff series, then I think maybe this one could be number 2. But that's about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, the season played out the way it did, and we are lucky to have all these great moments in our Reds season. So, really appreciative of everyone. If you have any other moments or anything to point out about our top 10 list, feel free to put it out in the comments. You know, on X, on YouTube, wherever else you find us, on the podcast. So shout out to all those people that follow us on the podcast. That's been doing pretty well on Apple and Spotify. So really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, that's a neat little thing there with audio only. I was never an audio only guy up until maybe a year or 2 ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and Apple is kind of cool because I can look at the stats under the hood and that, and really appreciative of everyone that kind of follows us on Apple Podcasts. I promise, we are trying to get onto iHeart and other different places as well. So look forward to us in 2026 to try to expand our reach, if you will, to expand our platforms and everything.
Get on Google.
Yeah, we're really appreciative of. I think Google Podcast is dead. But I think you're talking about like YouTube podcasts.
Yeah, it's like under YouTube Music, I think, officially.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to have Google Podcasts. That's how I know that it's dead.
Yeah.
They killed it a couple years ago. But yeah, we're coming out to the end of our 2025 episodes, and we want to just kind of shout out and thank all our fans and whatnot. I know Ricky that I want to shout out your work as well because you've had a great 2025. I want to thank all the fans for supporting Ricky's work on SI. You know, he's putting the stuff out there for you. You know, probably even more than possibly even during the season and whatnot. So
yeah, it's been a busy month. This has probably been my second busiest month, other than trade deadline talk.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, and then you know we've got some big things also lined up in the future in 2026. So we really want you guys to try to, you know, stay with us, subscribe, like, comment, make sure you got the notifications on as well, because we're going to try to go live during the season as well at 8 on Sundays. But yeah, we're going to also try to do some different things as well. Interviews like we did in 2025. We're really appreciative of like Tom Brenneman, Ryan McChrystal, Trevor Kunsel, all the other guys at Chatterbox that come on, all our friends like Clay Snowden and Reds Daily, Greg Kuffner coming on and doing that. So we're really grateful for them being a part of the show. You know, even though that we're the little engine that could just humble beginnings, trying to grind it out and get this red stuff out to you. So we're real thankful to everyone that's been a part of this show one way or the other in 2025.
Yeah, it's been not what I thought was going to be this show. I didn't know what this show was going to be when we first started. We started out pre-recorded episodes, and then we had our famous live debut with tornado sirens going on and you losing power. And what a debut! I think I was talking to Jeff Carr and Greg Reds Daily 4 when Greg was on Locked On Reds a couple days ago, and Greg, he was like, yeah, it was fun. The perfect timing for my internet to go out was during that interview. Luckily for them, you know, they don't really do a whole lot of live content for the regular everyday show. But He's like, yeah. And I texted back. I was like, yeah, our first live show, we had tornado sirens going off and we lost power and everything. It was crazy. And yeah, so it's been an experience, man. Just, we had talked, through Red's social media, whether it's Chatterbox post game shows or the off the bench shows with Tom when he was on there. And, uh, we wrote the article together about the salary cap, and that kind of was like, hey, I think we got something here. I think we could get something going. And shout out, Doug and Jordan from Ohio Sports Talk for giving us a platform to really start out. And I didn't know where it was going to go. Were we going to make it 3 episodes or make it a couple episodes in and see what happens? And it clicked. We had some moments on there. I think the funny one you had was when we thought the athletics guy was going to be the next star, and and then
Super moment.
yeah, and then the Jamer Candelario situation where I was like, oh, I'll shave my head if he gets DFA'd, and sure enough, I think it was the next day. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
and,
that happened.
And then I guess if we're going to be shouting out people for the whole year aspect of stuff, is James and Greg for the Reds Talk on SI. I never imagined that would ever even be a possibility of writing on a major platform like that. I never imagined even being a writer to begin with, and here I am writing on one of the most iconic sports websites there is, in my opinion. Not just because I write for them. I just always thought that. You think sports publications, you think of Sports Illustrated. And, shout out everybody else in our little group we have. Sirhan and Football with Cheese, Mike, Ballantyne, and you, especially Roger, for sticking with me on this too, because I know you always say I pull a lot of strings, but you're the guy behind all the audio stuff, and you script out a lot of the shows. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you for sticking with me as well, because I think that's been not to go too far behind the curtain on it, but I think our more loose approach of late, maybe after August, because August was a notoriously bad month for the Reds and my fandom, because the Reds started to really rub me the wrong way when they're playing some really awful baseball, and I guess it's because Ellie didn't have 2 quads; he only had 1. But anyway, neither here nor there. I think going into September and then October now, where we're at, being a little more loose with it, just being able to be ourselves a little bit more, because I like to be prepared, and I'm always probably annoying you by trying to get topics and figuring things out and whatnot. But I think going into 2026, I think we hopefully are finding a good groove where we can just riff and go. I definitely don't want to get into too much, but we got a lot coming in 2026, and we want you to be on this ride. 2025 is great. We made the playoffs. We got a World Series manager at the helm. We hope that we can add to this roster and build toward it, and we want you guys to be a part of it, basically, is my appeal to you all, and we really appreciate the ones that are with us, that, Fred's in the chat and whatnot, and all the other people. Carrick behind the scenes is helping us, and his Facebook group with the Farm Report gets us views, and he helps us out in that way as well, so we're really also grateful for them. So we just want to kind of keep going and keep being here for you. We try not to hit you over the head with so much analytics, because a lot of the analytics we don't like, but we try not to be just, comedians up here, because, I don't know, I'm not a comedian by trade, so I'm not that funny. But I do try to make sure that I laugh before I cry before I get to this baseball team, because baseball definitely is it's a hard sport to, you invest a lot in it. I think we talked about this, man. Yeah. The Reds really make you earn your fandom one way or the other. Yeah, they take that, pound of flesh, and they hopefully 2026, the what we invest into them will prove out, dividends and prove out a lot of good moments. So much that maybe our next year's top 10 list will be even harder to fill out, because we'll have so many nice moments to put in there that our honorable mention list will be even longer type of thing.
Yeah. It'd be
But
great.
yeah, more than anything, thank you, Ricky, for all you do. I know I do credit you a lot because you do put up these graphics. You put up a lot of our social media stuff. We're killing it on Instagram. Where shout out to all those guys that we connect with in the Reds org on Instagram. We're watching you guys. I know we didn't comment on the minor league stuff. Maybe we'll put out a video later about all the minor league stuff. Guys abroad that are playing either in the Winter League or the Aussie League or out there. What else going on? Puerto Rico. Our guy Edwin Arroyo is out there. So shout out to those guys. We didn't talk about them tonight. But to be honest with you, I'm losing my voice. Like I told Ricky, I'm trying to wrap it up before I completely lose my voice. So, yeah. Anything else you got, Ricky? Happy New Year, Happy Christmas to everyone out there. We really appreciate all the fans that stick by us, and we hope to grow and do even better stuff for you in 2026.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. We got something really cool lined up pretty early on too.
Yep. Stay tuned. Notifications, turn them on. And also, Reds Fest is coming up. I'm planning on being there Friday, and then we got spring training right around the corner. So I'm sick of winter, by the way. I don't know why. I'm not trying to do the hot take section, but what happens to all those people? Did you see that, Ricky? Like in the middle of summer, there's all these people with the hot takes of like, oh, I'll take 30 degrees every single day over 90. Yeah, right. Get out of here.
No, I'll take away the humidity. I'll take 100 all day long.
I'll take 90 in humidity over 10 degrees, and I can't start my car.
I got locked in my house.
Yeah, see?
when it hit 0, I got locked in my house. I couldn't turn the lock on my door.
Yeah, the people that are these pro winter takes, I think they're not remembering how cold it is. They're just they just don't like
out of here.
Sweating all the time. I guess maybe
Go move to Alaska then.
All right.
All right, go Reds.
Yeah. All right. So see you all in 2026. Go Reds.
2026, go Reds.